Healthy people do not understand unhealthy people. Healthy minds do not understand broken minds. And it's such a deep concept because we're dealing today with broken people, and healthy people can't understand them. You just, Baruch Hashem, if you can't understand someone who wants to die. Baruch Hashem, if you don't understand someone who's suffering from depression, anxiety. And when those people who don't understand sick people look at them, they say all the wrong things. They say things that are offensive, and they can't figure out, what did I do? And it's because they really don't understand the mindset of a broken brain. And I'm so happy that there's people left in this world that aren't in pain. And I really should get out of here a little bit more often, because I'm starting to think like everybody's in pain. And I realized, wait, that's only the people that I know. It's only people that come to me, you know. You can go out, and I had my friend of mine, my tzaddik friend of mine, the Yosef Chaim life of the Shiva of Satmar. He told me, he said, Avi, you have to come sometimes at night, 12 o'clock at night, to whatever shtibel, to whatever shul. There's 100 guys koching and learning. You have to see, there's still some people that are frum and learning and geschmack and alive and lebedik, and you can't just deal with the street kids all the time. And it's true. It's true. Right? The problem is there's a lot of people that they're suffering, and when Ani v'Rosh nifkashu, says in Mishlei, Shlomo Melech says, Oisei kulam Hashem, when the poor man meets the rich man, you know, the Eibishter made both of them. But the rich man doesn't understand the poor man's mentality, and also the rich man doesn't understand the breakdown of being poor for 5 years, 7 years, 9 years, and he'll look at the poor man doing something and say like, oh, that doesn't make any sense. Well, it didn't make sense to him either when he used to have money, and then go through the breakdown of losing all your money, and you'll end up doing strange things. People who have pain in their brain end up doing strange things. And when you try to get them to explain it, it's so hard for them, and it just angers and frustrates them. I'll give you an example. When you're having a geschmacka conversation with somebody who's normal, you could say, why did you, ... How come you, right? That's a normal thing to say. And the guy will explain to you why he did it, why he didn't do it, what's he all about. When someone is suffering, someone who went through childhood trauma, someone who we have fMRIs of their brain that show that there's parts of the brain that are damaged because of the pain that they went through, someone who has depression, anxiety, and they do something, and you say, why did you, whatever, they can't explain it to you because they have to take you back to understand so much about their life and their pain in order to make sense out of what they did. So here's where it comes down for us. I always tell parents, don't ask questions. Where, why, how, when, what. Stop it. It makes people crazy to go and explain myself to you. It makes me crazy. That's how they feel. And parents will say, I totally accept my kid. What's wrong with saying, why did you, whatever? How come you, what's wrong with that? And I tell them, because you're judging. And they say, I'm not judging. I'm judging means you're wrong, you're bad. I didn't say you're wrong, you're bad. I just said, why did you, da-da-da-da-da? How come you did da-da-da-da? That's not judging. That's just asking. But think about it. Open your hearts and try to imagine. The fact that you're asking somebody, why did you, how come you, is coming because you're judging. Where's the judgment? Because if you really, really believe, Havedanas kala adam l'kaf. If you really believe, al toden es chavercha ad shetagilim kaimai, then you don't question them. You assume that you had a reason. So you have somebody in the family that had a breakdown, had depression, anxiety, suicidal, chas v'shalom, what all these things, and then they come an hour late to the wedding. Imagine that they were sick in the hospital. You wouldn't say, why are you late? To your friend who's healthy, you could say, why are you late? Someone who you know never chazyana machla, and he comes an hour and a half late to a close family wedding. Hey, where were you? How are you? If you have somebody next to you, your wife is next to you, you know what you're going to feel in your rib? And you're going to be like, what? What'd I do? What's wrong? The answer is, you idiot, it's wrong because don't you realize this person is sick? So if they came late, they probably have a good reason. It's probably not because they forgot. It's probably not because they don't care. There's probably a good reason. When you go over to someone in pain, right? You go to someone who's acting strange or different, and you ask them a question, it's the same jab into the rib. Why are you asking me? Because you think I don't care? You think I'm bad? You think I'm stupid? Right? Someone would go over to a girl who would come into a wedding, not sneistic, very not sneistic, and say, why do you come like that? You're challenging her. You're saying it in a question mark, so you're defending yourself that you're not challenging her, and you really accept, I really want to know. I really want to understand. Even I would say the same answer that the girl would say, which is beep, beep, beep. Because you're so off. You can't go to somebody who's doing something different and just expect, and you know what you'll get? Either get out of my face or you'll get a superficial answer, because the real answer has to be b'kai b'draish. Let me explain to you what happened to me and why I can't dress tznius and how I feel. Like a girl said that I can't wear tznius. What do you mean you can't wear? A healthy person does not understand a broken brain. A healthy person says, what do you mean you can't? What do you mean you can't? We have girls outside in the winter, freezing, and they won't cover themselves up. The Goyim are already covered up. But the frum kids who grew up frum, who are traumatized, can't cover themselves up. Why? So just because you have a question of why, doesn't mean that they have to answer it. The answer is not going to be anything superficial like your friend. You ask your friend, hey, why'd you come late to the wedding? Oh, I had a flat tire, I wasn't feeling well. It's all superficial reasons. You go to someone who has a brain pain in their brain, the answer is so deep, they can't even explain it to you. It's like, you have 10 hours for me? You have 20 hours for me? Can I explain to you how I feel? And they don't always want to. And you don't deserve that answer unless you've proven your loyalty to them. So when you go over to somebody who's in pain, somebody who's struggling, and you ask them, why? How come you? Why do you have to? Where were you? You don't realize that to the broken person, it's an attack. They feel traumatized, they feel attacked, they feel interrogated, they leave those places. Now think deeper. Is it an attack or is it not an attack? Who's right? The answer is the healthy brain does not understand the broken person. To the broken person, you're attacking me. Because why can't you just say, hi, good to see you? Why do you have to say, why do you dress like that? How come you came 2 hours late? Why didn't I see you by the wedding? And we would never do that for physical illness, and we have to learn to stop doing that for people who are suffering. Because it's not a superficial little answer. It's something very deep that's going on for a long time. You have to close your mind and open your heart and stop asking, because you can't even handle the answer. You can't even handle if they gave you a syringe and put in for 1 minute the pain that they're going through. Right? You wouldn't be able to take it. So when you see somebody misbehaving, assume that they're in pain. And if they're in pain, then means I'm not going to judge you until I get to your place, and I'm not going to ask you because it's coming from judgment, because I'm assuming that you're stupid, you're bad, you're trying to antagonize, you have a message, and so many kids get hurt from that. So many kids get hurt because some chacham comes over and says, that's the way you come to the wedding, that's the way you come to the Sheva Brachos, that's the way you come to the shul, what are you trying to say? You're trying to this, you're trying to that. And it's like all the kid needed to one day fix his ways is a hug. All they need is not judgment. So the chiddush is that when you ask questions, it's coming because internally you're judging the person. You don't understand them, and it's coming from you're assuming that they're bad or something like that. And you could say it with an innocent face, you could say with a beautiful innocent face, but deep down, it's judgment. So now let me go back to what I said before. When people say, I didn't do anything, I just asked the question, it's really judgment.